This is your host, Pete Moore, and I am pleased and humbled to announce the launch of my one and only book, Time to Win Again. 52 takeaways from playing and watching team sports to ensure your business success. Those of you who know me personally, and anyone who listens to Halo Talks for any length of time, know that I am an avid sports fan and a big believer in the value of team sports. What I've seen over the past 25 years helping businesses grow, raising capital, being an entrepreneur myself, and coaching and mentoring executives in the sector, it's the lessons learned on the field perfectly apply to business. Entrepreneurs, executives, managers, you name it. Every company that's a strong company has got a good team. It's a quick read. There's awesome illustrations in there from our good friend Mark at Cruelty Free Cartoons. If you go to integritysq.com, enter your email address, and we will send you information on the book and the Entrepreneur's Survival Kit as well. Be great. Take names. Go Halo.
This is Pete Moore on Halo Talks, on location, Ursa, in person, Dallas, Texas. Frank is joining us again for his second podcast. Only a couple of people have had a second podcast, so man, welcome to the show. No pressure. Got a new job at Promotion Vault, so give us an update on your personal and professional life, and I will ask you some questions about what the near-term future looks like.
Yeah, thank you. It's great to be back again, Pete. Appreciate you having me, and now as the Chief Operating Officer for Promotion Vault. And I get to work from home, and nothing's really changed other than my wife hasn't kicked me out yet, and we've been married now 41 years, knew each other since 1979. Some people weren't even a twinkle in anyone's eye back then. But I've been in the industry since 83, and as I kidded around before, since dirt was invented, but it's great to be back in person with Ursa.
Yeah, definitely. So, you've got a really interesting background from an operations side and understand how processes work and how to kind of sell or get people onboarded onto a system.
Yeah.
So how has the relationship that you now have with Promotion Vault and going to these clubs and saying, look, these gift cards are being used in other industries very successfully. You see it on TV all the time. You get a survey. It says, take this survey and get a $25 gift card, so on and so forth. So do you feel like we're at a tipping point now where people get it, where it's not as much of an evangelist sale?
That's a great question. I do think that they're starting to get it. What they really still don't get, honestly, Pete, is that free and discounted dues don't work. It erodes your revenue stream and it erodes EBITDA. And so we're on a mission really to educate, to let them know that there's other options and better options than discounting memberships and discounting your dues, and we think that it's a better solution. We know that e-gift cards, high value e-gift cards, like places from Amazon, Nike, all of these bigger players, Under Armour, that really give us an opportunity to help associate a brand of a club, say like a Mountainside, or Matrix in New York, to be able to associate with gift cards that everybody would rather use, and try to emote from people an emotional reaction for a gift card versus free or discounted.
It was one of the things, and we're obviously an investor in Promotion Vault, so I'll give that little disclaimer there. One of the things I found shocking when Brian started the company is that you were allowed to actually do that. Where Under Armour is like, I could partner up with Mountainside, New York sports clubs, Pete's Fitness, and you didn't have to go through some kind of sponsorship, quality control on the name. So the ability to go and say, hey, I want to do a cross promotion between us and Lululemon without having to actually talk to anyone at Lululemon seems like a no-brainer from a brand affinity standpoint.
Brand affinity is huge for us. And I would also tell you, versus going to a grocery store and hitting the end caps and actually buying a gift card that you have to pay, and there is waste, because what happens to that gift card? Where does it go? And so now you have an opportunity to be able to have breakage. And that's a term that not everybody understands, but our ability to be able to have that kind of brand affinity and the reaction that somebody has to a Lululemon, to a Amazon, to a Nike, all of those things matter to people. And they'd rather that than anything free or discounted.
Yeah. So on average, and this isn't, the primary reason to use it, but you don't have any inventory. I had an argument one time with someone about, well, the club should just, continue just giving out T-shirts. And I'm like, well, there's a cost to the T-shirt, right?
Yeah.
And there's no cost to the gift card until it's activated. And you guys have set up this mousetrap basically that doesn't have the gift card liability as something that's into perpetuity. It's basically a validation of a promotional period. So I think people need to understand that versus if you're selling and you're giving away points. If you come to Integrity Square and you want to sell your company, like that point balance is a liability on your balance sheet that someone's going to, deduct purchase price from.
Right. And reality is that those do have an endpoint. It's decided by the client, and that it's not going to be in perpetuity where you have that liability carrying, so the club can decide that. And generally, it's not past a year. And sometimes it's even, if they don't activate in 30 days, it's also gone.
Right.
So there is an opportunity for a club to really manage that. And I would encourage all the club operators out there that when you think of an expense like an e-gift card as a true expense and not offset that with the revenue gained by the additional behaviors you're trying to inspire, whether it be guest visits, whether it be joiners, whether it be referrals, whether it be upsell to personal training, upsell to higher end memberships, all of that behavior is what gets incentivized. And there's a revenue offshoot to that expense that a lot of times people don't realize is an important calculation.
Yeah, now I was talking to the CEO of a big company that uses Promotion Vault, which I'll keep nameless for now, but he is a good reference. He said, look, we were doing zero down, and now I do a $50 join. You get a $25 to $50 gift card, but my cash that I'm generating on a monthly basis, which everyone wants to generate more cash right now until we get to the end of this tunnel on the pandemic side, you're actually changing the working capital of a business by using the gift card and being able to get this initiation fee up front, which not only the incentive is going to bring more people in, but there's also like a real cash flow impact, and also your revenue's higher because now I'm booking $50, and my cost of the gift card is probably $15 because of the usage and the breakage.
Yeah.
So I feel like the math is simple to understand.
It is, and generally speaking, the higher the gift card, the higher the activation rate. So if you do $50 or $75 or $100 gift card, you're going to see a higher activation rate that, of course, you have to pay for.
Right.
But it's a lot less than $100 if you bought it at a grocery store. The reality is, though, most are in that range of 50% are activated.
Right.
It's not like we don't want that to happen, and a club operator doesn't want to not have that happen. But you're trying to create an experience for a member who wants to be able to do something, or a prospective member who wants to become a member, and incentivize that behavior. And then they get rewarded for it. And they see the tangible value, because how can you explain free? How can you explain 50% off, 25% off? And so the gift card gives you that high perceived value.
I mean, I was kind of hoping after the pandemic that people would stop selling price because of the value of going to a health club. And I kind of joke around about this, but if you're in New York City and you go out to one dinner, it costs you $100, right? And it's like, I use this, the Bronzino costs 28, right? And I devour that in like 12 minutes. So, stop selling price and sell results, sell the community, sell the experience. And I feel like our industry had this unique opportunity, and maybe Ursa will change that and say, hey, look, let's sell that you can survive.
Yeah.
Right? That, like, if you have a strong immune system, like, you're not dying from COVID. Right. I don't care how old you are.
Right. And now more than ever, we are a natural vaccine for everyone.
I like that term. I'm going to use that.
It's a natural vaccine. And I think what's going to happen out of the pandemic is that we will, in fact, as an industry, be the answer and the antidote, if you will, to future illness. We already knew that, but now it's hit so close to home in every walk of life. I really believe that that's going to happen. And I think that our industry when we come out of it. Here's what I would say, and we had this conversation last night with a bunch of us that have been around the industry. It's still pretty sad for me that we have had 18 to 22% of the entire population be a part of clubs. What are we doing wrong? And I think part of it is, to your point, we are selling on price. We're not selling the experience. We're not selling the value. And I believe in my heart that Promotion Vault gives you a partial tool to be able to get ahead of that curve and move the needle in your own community.
I want to take a minute and tell our audience about two awesome workout recovery products I've been using for the last 18 months from higherdose.com, leader in infrared technology for athletes like all of us are. We're an investor in the company. That's not why I'm telling you this. I'm telling you this because it works. You got an infrared sauna blanket. I hop in there. I'll listen to some podcasts, burn 800 calories, get a mad detox. And a PEMF, which is a pulsed electromagnetic field crystal mat that I lay on, and I recalibrate my cells to the normalized level of the earth. If you got somebody you like and you're looking for a pretty awesome gift, they will love it. You could use this code HALO75, get $75 off, and you will not be disappointed. Higherdose.com, promo code HALO75. And now let's get back to our regularly scheduled program.
You know, some of these weight loss programs, and then you see some of these boot camps that are, you know, body transformation, they're charging like $500 to $1,000 a month, right? So we know that that's the price to value of somebody who has hope left and actually wants to change their life, right? So we know that that's the high point.
Yeah.
And everything else could kind of like cascade, waterfall down from there. So, you know, maybe using a higher dollar gift card might actually allow you to have a higher price point and say like, hey, I got a 99, you know, I'll give you a $100 gift card and it's a, you know, $100 activation and $100 a month. It's almost like the gift card almost like is aligned with the monthly dues. I don't know. I'm just thinking about this out loud here.
That's a great question. And I can't name who this was because I helped Club Industry create the top 100 clubs this year. And it was really sad to see some of the hits that some of these friends and club operators have had. But they still turned in the survey. So they did get a gift card from Promotion Vault. But it didn't move the needle in terms of more responses. And I think it might be because of that value. You know, somebody gets $10, and I had operators say to me, Frank, just donate the $10. Like it didn't really matter. So maybe if it's a top 100, maybe they should have gotten a $100 gift card as an example. So I think a lot depends on your price point, and don't be afraid to have a higher value gift card because that will grab attention.
I want to bring up one thing for people that are listening to this podcast right now who run a software company or any business that is valued as a multiple of revenue. Okay, so you got a software company, every dollar of revenue could be multiplied by 5 times revenue. So it's $5 of enterprise value. I got $1 million revenue, the business is worth $5 million or $8 million at this point. If you use a gift card and don't discount your software sales, you can actually keep your revenue at that level or higher. And then you have an expense of the gift card, which does not affect your valuation. So that's a free advice here from everyone who's running a business that's multiple of revenue. Please call Frank, CC me, CC Brian, and get your ass into the gift card game.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Pete, that I'm so glad you brought that up because people don't realize that when and you know this better than anybody, somebody starts digging into your business and they want to buy it, they're going to look at those types of things. And what are you giving this away for? Like, for example, we're getting into that time of year where people will say no dues until January. And you wonder then, why is it that the value of your business isn't the 3 times, whether it be revenue or whether it be EBITDA, or 4 times or any sort of multiple? And a lot of it's related to the fact that we give away revenue. We hand it to people, and
Right.
they don't even know it.
Right.
What are we doing?
I don't know any other business, and maybe you could correct me if you can think of any on the spot here, that gives away their product for 60 days for free. You got anybody?
No.
I can't think of anyone.
No.
You get a 7-day trial, maybe a 30-day trial, but I already put my credit card into whatever app that was, and I forgot to cancel it. And I might use it episodically until I decide to cancel it. But no one else gives out that kind of value. And at the end of the day, in 7 to 14 days, someone's motivated to change their routine and get into the fitness industry, or they're not.
Yeah.
Right? So just think about it that way.
It is. And I would tell you that people need still that nudge. And I do think that this creates that opportunity to be able to get a nudge and go free or a couple different months, or do I get a gift card that I could re-gift or use it myself? I do think that there are industries that are all over the place that e-gift cards and Promotion Vault will be entering into, because we've seen so much success. Over 3,700 clubs in our portfolio have successfully used Promotion Vault. And now it's gotten even that much easier because it's become a SaaS, software as a service. We use it as rewards as a service.
The
RAS.
I like how that sounds.
Doesn't
actually.
it? It just sounds
because you gotta hold it longer, like a
delay
choir,
that.
like the RAS, like let it drip, like an email campaign just gonna drip. The RAS is gonna drip.
No doubt.
Dripping revenue, dude. Maybe that's a new tagline for Motion Paul. Dripping revenue.
Dripping.
And then you
revenue.
come out in every podcast. You come out in every Zoom call. You come out like drenched in like a raincoat and like a little margarita umbrella.
I love
Be
it.
like, dude, I'm dripping revenue, dude, right now.
And I'm not.
Brian's gonna love that.
He's gonna love that if he's listening.
Dripping revenue.
We're gonna give Pete the credit on that, but I don't mind putting on the raincoat and making sure that we know that we're dripping revenue for clients.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the things I'll tell you is that we've had success recently outside the fitness industry with in-home security systems, car washes that have memberships,
Sure.
to reward that instead of giving away months. And that's a mistake. And we believe that the industry will ultimately get it, and we have to do an education piece on it, but we're going to continue to grow inside and outside the industry.
So 2 points. One, on a serious note, the raincoat should have all the logos of all the gift cards, kind of like a NASCAR.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Let's do it.
And then the second part is, I feel like members and prospective members don't expect to get free months. Like, they expect to pay for some, especially in this inflationary environment that we're in right now.
Yep.
They don't expect to they know that we had a hard time.
Yeah.
They know that, there's some clubs and studios where their members basically said, hey, look, I'm going to pay you because I don't want you to go out of business during the pandemic. So I feel like we got to raise our game and have a little more confidence and say, take price that's fair and is already undervalued.
Yeah.
Right. And do things with gift cards and do things with rewards and understand your members and listen.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Pete, because there's one that comes to mind immediately who, during the pandemic, IRSA board member, they're part of the United States. I won't say which group, but it's a multi-site company, had hundreds of thousands of dollars dropped to the bottom line because members chose to keep their dues paying during the pandemic in exchange for a gift card for when dues came back. So they held the expense, kept the revenue going, and it was an absolute home run. In fact, 60% of members of this particular organization kept paying dues for 6 to 8 months versus the 40% who canceled. Think about that impact if your members at the rate of 60% would have kept paying dues.
Yeah. One of the things that I think we might take for granted is your top 30 to 40% of your members that are using your club, they feel like it's almost like a condo board. It's like a co-op. Like, hey, we own part of this club. And actually, if you started to treat them as if they were, I put this in the book, if they own a PSL license, if they bought that seat for $25,000 at the Giant game, they're embedded, like, this is part of their life. This is like one of the top 3 things that they talk about. They talk about their job, they talk about where they work out, and
club.
what they're into, right?
And my club.
Yeah, it's my club. It's not that club.
Right.
Right. So in closing here, you got Rex Roundtables that I think has done a fantastic job. Shout out to Eddie Talk with really bringing the vendor, roundtables together. And also, I think there's been a more robust sharing of industry intelligence and best practices. So maybe in closing here, since you're going to meet with Eddie, tell us what some of the big takeaways have been there and, encouraging other people to get involved in those.
Well, one of the things that I would tell people is that they don't realize that Eddie has been around since 1989 with Rex Roundtables. And the takeaway is that we now have supplier roundtables who are cross-referring and being the consultative type sale for their clients, whether or not they buy from them or not. So whether it be like a Steve Meisner from Buck Affiliates and talking about insurance, or whether it be Tim Siebold and Sulis AI and attaching chatbots to websites as a way to help save on payroll, make it more efficient, and have a consistent message. All of those conversations happened here in Dallas when we had our first in-person meeting. And the fascinating thing, I get the chills even talking about this, we knew each other on Zoom. The big difference was when we met each other in person, everybody's height was different. But it was a magical moment. And I told my wife, shout out to my wife, Judy,
Holla.
about how when you invite people to a dinner party and they sort of know each other and then they show up and they have a blast as if they've known each other for years. And that cohesiveness, those of you who know Ursa and know Pete and know what goes on here, that happens in a small roundtable and your personal board of directors.
Yeah. So in closing here, I think, one, check out Promotion Vault. Stop selling price, start selling more value and results. People want results. Make it fun. Don't make everything a challenge because we've got a lot of deconditioned people that are going to be intimidated. But I do think the pandemic has helped people go on the video on demand platforms and say, hey, I can actually do that now.
Yeah.
Right. So it's probably taken away some level of anxiety because that exists everywhere. And, everyone here is basically trying to help each other. So if you're a vendor in this industry, I've never seen in 20 years somebody say, I'm not going to make that introduction for you. Or, it's pretty special industry, I think, overall.
And I think now there's even more of a need to want to help. And, I'll just finish by saying, just from that movie with Jerry Maguire and how he screams to him and says, help me help you. Well, Pete does that for a lot of us and has, and he allows himself to help us. And I would tell you that Promotion Vault is let us help you help yourself.
I like it.
So that's how I'd like to finish, is that we're not a used car salesman. We're not a gimmicky thing. We're not a tchotchke. We're a real life behavioral change company.
So you heard it first here. On 3, we do RAS. 1, 2, 3. RAS. See you later. Go Halo.